Rain poured over Lagos that midnight. Adesewa thought she had everything: a billionaire empire, a beautiful son, a home in Lekki. But when she opened her bedroom door and saw her husband Femi tangled in the sheets with Ronke, her own assistant, everything shattered. The betrayal was just the beginning. Femi didn't just break her heart. He framed her, destroyed her reputation, and had her thrown in jail. But in that cold cell, a ragged homeless man named Kunle whispered words that would change everything. "Madam, I know you. I saw what your husband did that night." And when the judge was about to seal her fate, Kunle burst into the courtroom screaming, "Don't kill her, she's innocent." What did Kunle see? Can a homeless man save a billionaire from her own husband's trap? Hey everyone, welcome to Tales by AJ, your home for the most gripping, emotional, and jaw-dropping stories of love, betrayal, and revenge. If you love real African drama that hits you right in the feels, then you're in the right place. Today's story will take you on a roller coaster you won't forget. Before we dive in, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button right now and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a story like this. Trust me, you don't want to be left hanging when the next chapter drops. Now, let's get into it. The rain hammered against the streets of Lekki Phase 1 like 1,000 angry drums. It was past midnight, and the roads gleamed black under the dim streetlights. Adesewa sat in the back of her Mercedes, exhausted from the charity gala she'd just left early. Her head throbbed. Her feet ached in her stilettos. But something deeper gnawed at her, a feeling she couldn't name. She told her driver to drop her off at the gate. She needed air. She needed to think. As she approached her mansion, she noticed the lights were still on upstairs. In her bedroom, Femi was supposed to be asleep by now. He'd said he wasn't feeling well earlier that evening. That's why he'd stayed home instead of accompanying her to the event. Adesewa's heart began to race. She pushed open the front door quietly, her heels clicking softly on the marble floor. The house was silent except for the hum of the air conditioner. Then she heard it. Laughter. Low. Intimate. Coming from upstairs. Her stomach twisted. She climbed the stairs slowly, each step heavier than the last. Her hand trembled as she reached for the bedroom door handle. She pushed it open. And froze. There in her bed, was Femi. Naked. Tangled in the sheets. And beside him, smiling like she owned the world, was Ronke. Her personal assistant. The woman she'd trusted with her schedule, her finances, her life. Adesewa's scream tore through the house. "Femi. In my own house." Studio microphone, what would you do if you walked in on this? Broken heart hit like if you've ever been betrayed, and comment below where you're watching from. Globe showing Europe Africa backhand index pointing down. Femi scrambled off the bed, grabbing a sheet to cover himself. Ronke didn't move. She just sat there, smirking, her bare shoulders gleaming in the soft lamplight. "Adesewa, wait," Femi started, but Adesewa was already charging at Ronke. She lunged, grabbing Ronke by the hair and dragging her off the bed. Ronke shrieked, clawing at Adesewa's arms. They crashed to the floor in a tangle of fury and rage. "You snake. I gave you everything." Adesewa screamed, tears streaming down her face. Femi pulled her off, shouting, "Stop it! Stop it, Adesewa." She turned on him, chest heaving, eyes wild. "You brought her into my house? Into my bed?" Femi's face hardened. The guilt flickered, then vanished. "You pushed me to this, Adesewa. You and your obsession with your business. When was the last time you looked at me like a husband? When was the last time you made me feel like I mattered?" Adesewa stared at him, disbelief washing over her like cold water. "So this is my fault?" "Yes," he shouted. "You're never home. You're always at meetings, always traveling, always choosing money over me. What did you expect?" Ronke stood up, wrapping herself in a bedsheet, her voice dripping with venom. "He doesn't love you anymore, Adesewa. He loves me. He promised to marry me." Adesewa's world tilted. She looked between them, the man she'd built an empire for, and the woman she'd trusted like a sister. "Get out," she whispered. "What?" Femi said. "I said get out," she screamed. "Both of you. Get out of my house." Femi laughed bitterly. "Your house? You think you can just throw me out? I know things, Adesewa. I know where the money comes from. I know what you've done." Her blood ran cold. "What are you talking about?" He leaned in close, his breath hot on her face. "You'll regret this. You're nothing without me." He grabbed Ronke's hand, and they walked out, leaving Adesewa standing alone in her destroyed bedroom. By morning, the neighbors were whispering. Someone had seen Femi leave with Ronke. Someone had heard the screaming. Adesewa's name, once whispered with respect, was now tossed around with pity and judgment. She sat in her living room, staring at nothing. Her son, Tobi, was still asleep upstairs. He didn't know yet. She didn't know how to tell him. Then she heard the knock at the gate. Her housekeeper answered. Moments later, 2 police officers walked into her living room. "Adesewa Ogunlade?" one of them asked. She stood, confused. "Yes. You're under arrest for fraud and child neglect." Her world spun. "What? That's impossible. I haven't done anything." They didn't listen. They cuffed her wrists in front of her own staff, in front of Tobi, who had woken up and come downstairs. "Mummy!" he screamed, running to her. "It's okay, baby," she whispered, tears choking her voice. "Mummy will be fine." But she wouldn't be. Outside, cameras flashed. Reporters shouted questions. Neighbors stood on their porches, watching her downfall. Femi had struck first. And he'd struck hard. Inside the cold, damp cell at the Ikoyi police station, Adesewa sat on a hard bench, her designer dress stained and wrinkled. Her mind raced. Fraud. Child neglect. Femi had set her up. He'd planned this. He wanted her destroyed. She heard footsteps. An officer passed by, whispering to another. Her husband paid well. She's not getting out. Adesewa's blood boiled. But what could she do? She had no allies. No proof. Then, from the shadows of the cell, a ragged voice spoke. "Madam, I know you." She turned. In the corner sat a man, thin, dirty, wearing torn clothes. His eyes, though tired, were sharp. "Who are you?" she asked. "My name is Kunle," he said. "And I saw what your husband did that night." Adesewa's heart stopped. "What do you mean?" Kunle leaned forward. "I was outside your house. I see many things on the streets, madam. Things people think no one notices." "What did you see?" He smiled faintly. "Everything." The courtroom was packed. Journalists. Onlookers. Femi sat in the front row beside his lawyer, looking smug. Ronke sat beside him, her hand on his arm. Adesewa stood in the defendant's box, alone. Her lawyer had abandoned her after Femi bribed him. She had no defense. No hope. The judge shuffled his papers. "In the case of the state versus Adesewa Ogunlade, the court has reviewed the evidence. You are hereby found." The courtroom doors slammed open. Everyone turned. A ragged man, Kunle, stumbled in, breathless, wild-eyed. "Don't kill her, she's innocent." Silence. The judge banged his gavel. "Who is this man?" Kunle pointed at Femi. "That man is the criminal. I have proof." Gasps filled the room. Femi's face went white. Adesewa stared at Kunle, her heart pounding. The judge leaned forward. "Approach the bench." "Now." Kunle walked forward, clutching something in his hand. The courtroom held its breath. Kunle stood before the judge, his ragged clothes dripping rainwater onto the polished courtroom floor. The smell of the streets clung to him, sweat, dirt, desperation. But his eyes burned with purpose. The judge leaned back in his chair, skeptical. "State your name and explain yourself." This is a court of law, not a circus. My name is Kunle Adeyemi, he said, his voice stronger than his appearance suggested. I am a homeless man, yes. But I am not blind. And I am not a liar. Femi shot to his feet. Your Honor, this is absurd. This beggar has no business here. He's clearly been paid by someone to disrupt these proceedings. The judge raised a hand. Mr. Ogunlade, sit down. I will determine what has business in my courtroom. He turned back to Kunle. What proof do you claim to have? Kunle reached into his torn jacket and pulled out a small, battered phone. This, Your Honor. I recorded everything. The courtroom erupted in whispers. Adesewa's heart leaped. Femi's lawyer whispered urgently in his ear. The judge gestured. Bring it forward. A court officer took the phone from Kunle and connected it to the courtroom's display system. Within moments, the screen flickered to life. The footage was shaky, filmed from outside through a window. But the audio was clear. Crystal clear. It was Femi. In Adesewa's study. Speaking to someone on the phone. Yes, I've planted the documents in her office. The fraud charges will stick. Make sure the police move quickly before she has time to call her lawyers. A pause. Ronke has done her part. She's copied all the files we need. Once Adesewa is in jail, I'll take control of the company. Everything she built will be mine. Another pause. Then Femi laughed. Cold, cruel. She trusted me. She actually believed I loved her. Stupid woman. The courtroom fell into stunned silence. Adesewa's hands flew to her mouth. Tears spilled down her cheeks, not from sadness, but from rage. Pure, burning rage. Femi stood frozen, his face drained of color. Ronke looked like she wanted to disappear into the floor. The judge's expression darkened. Mr. Ogunlade, do you have anything to say? Femi stammered. That video is fake. Edited. This man is lying. Your Honor, Kunle interrupted calmly. I can provide the original file with metadata. The date, time, and location are all embedded. I may be poor, but I know how to protect evidence. The judge nodded slowly. Bailiff, take Mr. Ogunlade and Ms. Ronke Akinlade into custody immediately. I am ordering a full investigation into these allegations. No, wait. Femi shouted as officers moved toward him. You don't understand. She drove me to this. Silence, the judge roared. Take them away. As the officers handcuffed Femi and Ronke, Adesewa collapsed into her seat, sobbing. Not from weakness. From relief. From vindication. The judge turned to her. Mrs. Ogunlade, I apologize for the injustice you have suffered. All charges against you are hereby dismissed. You are free to go. The courtroom exploded in chatter. Cameras flashed. Reporters scrambled to get closer. Adesewa looked at Kunle, who stood quietly at the side of the room, watching her with calm, knowing eyes. She walked over to him, her voice breaking. You saved me. Why? You don't even know me. Kunle smiled gently. Madam, I've lived on the streets for 10 years. I know what it's like when the world turns on you for something you didn't do. I wasn't going to let them do that to you. But how did you? I sleep in the alley behind your house sometimes, he admitted. That night, I heard the shouting. I saw the man and woman leave. Later, I saw your husband making calls in your office through the window. Something didn't feel right. So I recorded it. Just in case. Adesewa grabbed his hands, tears streaming. Thank you. Thank you, Kunle. I will never forget this. Outside the courthouse, the press swarmed Adesewa. Microphones were shoved in her face. Questions came from every direction. Mrs. Ogunlade, how does it feel to be free? What will you do to your husband now? Are you going to press charges? Adesewa raised a hand, and the crowd quieted. She looked directly into the cameras. My husband betrayed me in the worst way a man can betray his wife. He didn't just break my heart, he tried to destroy my life, my reputation, and take my son from me. But he failed. Because the truth always comes to light. She paused, her voice firm. Femi Ogunlade will face the full force of the law. And I will make sure he never harms another woman again. The crowd erupted in cheers and applause. But as Adesewa turned to leave, her phone buzzed. A text message. From an unknown number. You think this is over? You have no idea what's coming, Adesewa. Watch your back. Her blood ran cold. She looked around the crowd, scanning faces. Someone was watching her. Someone who wanted her to suffer. But who? That evening, Adesewa sat in her living room with Tobi curled up beside her on the couch. The boy hadn't left her side since she'd come home. He was only 8, but he understood enough. His father had hurt his mother. And his mother had won. Mummy, is Daddy going to jail? Tobi asked quietly. Adesewa stroked his hair. Yes, baby. Your daddy did some very bad things. Will he ever come home? She hesitated. I don't know. But what I do know is that you and I are going to be okay. We're going to be stronger than ever. Tobi nodded, then yawned. She kissed his forehead and carried him upstairs to bed. When she came back downstairs, her phone rang. It was her lawyer, Barrister Adebayo. Adesewa, we need to talk, he said urgently. What is it? Femi's lawyer is filing for custody of Tobi. They're claiming you're an unfit mother because of the charges, even though they were dismissed. They're twisting the narrative. Adesewa's heart sank. He can't do that. He's in jail. He's out on bail. His family posted it an hour ago. And Adesewa, he's not backing down. He wants to take your son. She gripped the phone tighter. Over my dead body. There's more, Barrister Adebayo continued. I did some digging. Femi has been siphoning money from your company for months. Offshore accounts. Shell companies. We're talking millions of naira. Adesewa closed her eyes. The betrayal went deeper than she'd imagined. What do? We fight. And we fight dirty if we have to. But you need to be prepared, Adesewa. Femi is desperate. And desperate men are dangerous. She hung up and stood by the window, staring out at the lights of Lagos. Somewhere out there, Femi was planning his next move. But so was she. The next morning, Adesewa went to find Kunle. She drove through the streets of Lagos, searching the alleys and underpasses where homeless people gathered. Finally, she found him sitting under a bridge near Falomo, sharing bread with other street dwellers. Kunle, she called. He looked up, surprised. Madam Adesewa. You came back. I did. She walked over and knelt beside him, ignoring the stares from others. I need your help again. What can a man like me do for a woman like you? He asked with a sad smile. You already did the impossible once, she said. You saved my life. Now I need you to help me save my son. Kunle studied her face. What do you need? Femi is trying to take Tobi from me. He's using lies, money, and manipulation. I need evidence. I need to know what he's planning. And I think you can help me find it. Kunle was silent for a moment. Then he nodded. I know people, madam. People who see things. People who hear things. The invisible ones. Then help me, she pleaded. Please. Kunle stood. I will. But not for money. For justice. Adesewa smiled through her tears. Thank you. As she turned to leave, Kunle called after her. Madam, be careful. Men like your husband, they don't lose quietly. She nodded. I know. But neither do women like me. That night, Adesewa received another text. You should have stayed down, Adesewa. Now you'll lose everything. starting with your son. Her hands trembled. But this time, she didn't feel fear. She felt fury. And she was ready to fight back. 3 days later, Adesewa sat in her lawyer's office on Victoria Island, her fingers drumming nervously on the armrest. Barrister Adebayo shuffled through papers, his face grim. "The custody hearing is set for next week," he said. "Femi's legal team is aggressive. They're painting you as a workaholic who neglects her child. They're using the arrest, even though you were cleared, to suggest you're unstable." Adesewa clenched her jaw. "That's ridiculous. Tobi is my whole world. I know that. You know that. But in court, perception is everything. We need character witnesses. We need proof that you're the stable parent." He paused. "And we need to show that Femi is unfit. He cheated on me, framed me for fraud, and tried to steal my company. Isn't that enough?" Barrister Adebayo sighed. "Infidelity doesn't automatically disqualify someone from custody. We need more. Financial crimes, proof of abuse, anything that shows he's a danger to Tobi." Adesewa's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Madam, it's Kunle. Meet me at the motor park in Ojulegba. 6 p.m. Come alone. I found something." She looked up at her lawyer. "I have to go." "Adesewa, what are you planning?" She stood, grabbing her bag. "Whatever it takes to protect my son." Ojulegba Motor Park was chaos. Buses honking, hawkers shouting, diesel fumes choking the air. Adesewa stepped out of her car, drawing stares in her tailored suit. She didn't belong here. But she didn't care. She found Kunle near a cluster of food stalls, talking quietly with a young woman in faded clothes. "Kunle," Adesewa called. He turned and nodded. "Madam. Thank you for coming." He gestured to the woman. "This is Bimp. She works as a cleaner at a hotel in Ikeja. She has something you need to hear." Bimp looked nervous, her eyes darting around. "Madam, I don't want trouble." Adesewa softened her voice. "You won't be in trouble. I promise. Please, tell me what you know." Bimp hesitated, then spoke. "Your husband, Mr. Femi. He comes to the hotel often. With that woman, Ronke. But not just her. There are others." Adesewa's stomach turned. "Others?" Bimp nodded. "Young girls. Very young. He books rooms under fake names. He pays me extra to keep quiet." She pulled out her phone. "But I kept records. Photos of the register. Dates. Times." She handed the phone to Adesewa. The images showed hotel logs with Femi's signature, sometimes his real name, sometimes aliases. Dates going back 2 years. Adesewa's hands shook. "He's been doing this for 2 years?" "Maybe longer, madam. I only started working there 2 years ago." Kunle placed a hand on Adesewa's shoulder. "There's more. One of the girls. She's only 17. Her family has been looking for her." Adesewa felt sick. Not just betrayal. Not just infidelity. Femi was a predator. "Bimp," Adesewa said firmly, "I need you to testify. I need you to come forward." Bimp shook her head frantically. "No, madam. I can't. He'll hurt me. He has people." "I will protect you," Adesewa interrupted. "I will pay for security. I will make sure you're safe. But I need your help. If not for me, then for those girls. They deserve justice." Bimp looked at Kunle, who nodded encouragingly. Finally, she whispered, "Okay, I'll do it." Adesewa exhaled in relief. "Thank you. Thank you so much." Back home that night, Adesewa couldn't sleep. She lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, her mind racing. Femi wasn't just a cheater. He was dangerous. And he'd been living in her house, sleeping beside her, playing father to her son. How had she missed it? Her phone buzzed. Another text. You're digging where you shouldn't, Adesewa. Stop now, or you'll regret it. She sat up, her heart pounding. Someone was watching her. Someone knew she'd met with Kunle and Bimp. She grabbed her phone and called her head of security, Deo. Madam. His voice came through, alert. Deo, I need you to increase security around the house. Cameras everywhere. No one gets in or out without my knowledge. Is everything all right? No. But it will be. Just do it. She hung up and walked to Tobi's room. He was fast asleep, clutching his stuffed lion. She kissed his forehead and whispered, I won't let him take you. I promise. The next morning, Adesewa met with barrister Adebayo and handed him everything. Bimp's photos, Kunle's video, bank statements showing Femi's offshore accounts. Adebayo's eyes widened as he reviewed the evidence. This is... Adesewa, this is explosive. If this gets out, Femi won't just lose custody. He'll go to prison for a very long time. Good, she said coldly. That's exactly what I want. But we need to be strategic. If we release everything now, his lawyers will claim it's fabricated. We need to build an airtight case. How long will that take? A few weeks. Maybe a month. Adesewa shook her head. We don't have a month. The custody hearing is in 6 days. Adebayo leaned back in his chair, thinking. Then we use just enough to win custody. We hold the rest back for the criminal case. We show the judge that Femi is unstable, untrustworthy, and a danger to Tobi. We don't reveal everything. Just enough to bury him. Adesewa nodded slowly. All right. Let's do it. That evening, Femi called her. She stared at his name on the screen, debating whether to answer. Finally, she picked up. What do you want, Femi? His voice was smooth, almost charming. Adesewa. My love. Can't a man check on his wife? I'm not your wife anymore. And I'm not your love. He laughed softly. You're angry. I understand. But let's be reasonable. This custody battle, it's ugly. It's hurting Tobi. Let's settle this privately. You keep the company. I get Tobi. Everyone wins. Adesewa's grip tightened on the phone. You will never take my son from me. You think you can beat me in court? Adesewa, I have resources. I have connections. I have lawyers who eat people like you for breakfast. And I have the truth. Femi's tone darkened. The truth doesn't matter. What matters is who tells the better story. And my story. It's that you're a neglectful mother who cares more about money than her own child. And my story, Adesewa shot back, is that you're a liar, a cheat, a thief, and worse. Much worse. Silence on the other end. Then Femi spoke, his voice ice cold. Be very careful, Adesewa. You have no idea what I'm capable of. Neither do you, she said and hung up. Her hands were shaking. But she wasn't afraid. She was ready for war. 2 days before the custody hearing, Adesewa received a visitor. It was Femi's mother, Mama Ogunlade, a stern, traditional woman who had never approved of Adesewa's success. You've destroyed my son, Mama Ogunlade spat as she stood in Adesewa's living room. I didn't destroy him. He destroyed himself. You are a stubborn, prideful woman. You refused to submit to your husband, and now look what has happened. You have brought shame on this family. Adesewa's voice was calm but firm. Your son cheated on me. He framed me for fraud. He tried to steal my company. And you're blaming me. Mama Ogunlade pointed a finger at her. A good wife would have forgiven him. A good wife would have kept the family together. A good husband wouldn't have betrayed his wife in the first place. The older woman's face twisted in anger. You think you're so smart, so powerful. But let me tell you something, Adesewa. You will lose that boy. My son will take him, and you will have nothing. Adesewa stepped closer, her eyes blazing. Get out of my house. Now. Mama Ogunlade glared at her, then turned and stormed out. Adesewa stood there, breathing hard. The battle lines were drawn. And she wasn't backing down. The night before the custody hearing, Adesewa couldn't sleep. She sat in her study, reviewing documents, preparing herself mentally. Then her phone rang. It was Kunle. "Madam, you need to come. Now." "What's wrong?" "It's Bimp. They found her." Adesewa's blood ran cold. "What do you mean?" "She's in the hospital. Someone attacked her. She's alive, but barely." Adesewa grabbed her keys and ran. "Will Bimp survive to testify?" Fearful face. Is Femi behind the attack, or is someone else pulling the strings? Comment your theories below. If you're hooked on this story, smash that like button, share this with someone who loves drama, and subscribe bell so you don't miss the next chapter. The custody battle begins. The fluorescent lights of Lagos University Teaching Hospital hummed overhead as Adesewa rushed through the corridor. Her heels clicked urgently against the tiled floor. Kunle stood outside a ward, his face drawn with worry. "Where is she?" Adesewa demanded. "Inside. The doctors are with her now." A nurse emerged, her expression somber. "Are you family?" "I'm a friend," Adesewa said. "How is she?" The nurse glanced at Kunle, then back at Adesewa. "She was beaten badly. Broken ribs, concussion, internal bleeding. She's stable now, but..." She paused. "She keeps saying someone tried to kill her." Adesewa's heart sank. "Can I see her?" 5 minutes. No more. Adesewa entered the room. Bimp lay on the bed, her face swollen and bruised beyond recognition. Bandages covered her arms, and 4 drip fed into her hand. "Bimp," Adesewa whispered, pulling a chair close. "It's me." "Adesewa." Bimp's eyes fluttered open. She tried to speak, but only a rasp came out. "Don't talk. Just rest. You're safe now." But Bimp shook her head weakly. "No, not safe. They came, 2 men, said I should keep my mouth shut." Tears streamed down Adesewa's face. "I'm so sorry. This is my fault." "No," Bimp whispered. "He's evil. Don't let him win." The nurse entered. "That's enough. She needs to rest." Adesewa squeezed Bimp's hand gently. "I won't let him win. I promise." Outside, Kunle waited with his arms crossed. "This is Femi's doing." "We don't know that for sure," Adesewa said, though her voice lacked conviction. "Who else would it be? He found out she was going to testify. He's tying up loose ends." Adesewa leaned against the wall, exhausted and furious. "Without Bimp, we lose one of our strongest witnesses." Kunle was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "Not necessarily. I recorded her statement yesterday. Audio and video. Just in case." Adesewa looked at him, stunned. "You did?" He nodded. "I've lived on the streets long enough to know that people like Femi don't play fair. I wanted insurance." She grabbed his shoulders. "Kunle, you're a genius. I'm just a man who's tired of watching evil people win." The custody hearing began at 10 a.m. the next morning at the Lagos High Court. The courtroom was filled with spectators, journalists, and lawyers. Femi sat at the defendant's table, clean-shaven and dressed in an expensive suit, looking every bit the respectable businessman. Ronke sat beside him, her hand resting possessively on his arm. Adesewa sat across the aisle with Barrister Adebayo, her face composed but her stomach churning. The judge entered, Justice Okonkwo, a no-nonsense woman in her 60s known for her fairness. "This is a custody hearing for Tobi Ogunlade, age 8, she began. "Both parents are present. Let's proceed." Femi's lawyer, a slick man named Barrister Okoro, stood first. "Your Honor, my client is a devoted father who has been unjustly slandered by his estranged wife. Mrs. Ogunlade is a workaholic who has consistently prioritized her business empire over her son's well-being. She travels constantly, works late hours, and has left the child in the care of strangers for years. He presented photos of Adesewa at business conferences, boarding flights, attending galas, all without Tobi. Furthermore, Barrister Okoro continued, Mrs. Ogunlade was recently arrested for fraud and child neglect, charges that were dismissed. Barrister Adebayo interjected. Order. Justice Okonkwo banged her gavel. Mr. Okoro, stick to relevant facts. The point, Your Honor, is that Mrs. Ogunlade is unstable. She's aggressive, vengeful, and unfit to raise a child. Adesewa's nails dug into her palms, but she remained silent. Justice Okonkwo turned to Barrister Adebayo. Your response. Adebayo stood, his voice calm and measured. Your Honor, my client is a successful entrepreneur, yes. But she is also a loving, devoted mother who has provided her son with stability, education, and a safe home. Mr. Ogunlade, on the other hand, is a serial adulterer who embezzled funds from his wife's company and orchestrated a criminal conspiracy to have her falsely imprisoned. Gasps rippled through the courtroom. Barrister Okoro shot to his feet. Objection. These are baseless accusations. Not baseless, Adebayo said coolly. He held up a folder. We have video evidence, financial records, and witness testimony proving Mr. Ogunlade's crimes. Justice Okonkwo leaned forward. I'll see that evidence. For the next hour, Barrister Adebayo presented everything. Kunle's video of Femi's phone call, the offshore bank statements, the hotel records. He played Bimp's recorded testimony from her hospital bed, her voice shaking as she described Femi's predatory behavior. Femi's face turned ashen. Ronke looked ready to bolt. When the video ended, the courtroom was silent. Justice Okonkwo removed her glasses and stared at Femi. Mr. Ogunlade, do you have anything to say in your defense? Femi stood slowly. Your Honor, that video it's taken out of context. My wife is trying to destroy me because she can't accept that our marriage is over. So you deny embezzling funds from her company? I was owed that money. I contributed to the business. Did you or did you not orchestrate her arrest on false charges? Femi's jaw tightened. She pushed me to it. She neglected me, humiliated me. Answer the question, Mr. Ogunlade. He looked down. Yes, I did. The courtroom erupted. Journalists scribbled furiously. Cameras flashed. Justice Okonkwo banged her gavel. Order. I've heard enough. Mr. Ogunlade, you have admitted to criminal conspiracy and financial fraud. This court will not award custody to a man of such character. Femi's lawyer stood. Your Honor, we request supervised visitation. Request denied, Justice Okonkwo said sharply. Given the severity of Mr. Ogunlade's actions and the ongoing criminal investigation, I am granting full custody to Mrs. Adesewa Ogunlade. Mr. Ogunlade will have no contact with the child until further notice. Adesewa's knees nearly buckled. She grabbed the table for support, tears streaming down her face. Femi slammed his fist on the table. This is a setup. She's lying. All of you are lying. Bailiff, remove him, Justice Okonkwo ordered. As Femi was escorted out, still shouting, he turned and locked eyes with Adesewa. The hatred in his gaze was chilling. But she didn't look away. She had won. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed Adesewa. She stood tall, her voice steady as she addressed the cameras. Today, justice was served. Not just for me, but for every woman who has been betrayed, manipulated, and silenced by a man who claimed to love her. Femi Ogunlade will face the full consequences of his actions. And my son will grow up knowing that his mother fought for him with everything she had. The crowd applauded. As Adesewa walked to her car, she saw Kunle standing at the edge of the crowd, smiling. She walked over to him. You did it, madam, he said softly. We did it, she corrected. I couldn't have done this without you. She reached into her bag and pulled out an envelope. This is for you. Enough to get you back on your feet. A place to stay, food, clothes. Kunle raised a hand. Madam, I don't need money. Then what do you need? He looked at her, his eyes sincere. Just the satisfaction of knowing I helped someone who needed it. Adesewa's throat tightened. You're a good man, Kunle. Better than most. He smiled. God will provide for me. He always does. As he turned to leave, Adesewa called after him. Kunle, wait. He stopped. I'm opening a shelter, she said. For homeless people. For people who've been forgotten by society. I want you to help me run it. Kunle stared at her, stunned. Madam, I don't know what to say. Say yes. He smiled, tears glistening in his eyes. Yes. I'll help you. That night, Adesewa tucked Tobi into bed. He looked up at her with big, worried eyes. Mummy, is Daddy really a bad man? Adesewa chose her words carefully. Your daddy made very bad choices. But that doesn't mean he doesn't love you. It just means, sometimes people hurt the ones they love. Will I ever see him again? I don't know, baby. But what I do know is that you're safe. And I will always protect you. Tobi nodded and closed his eyes. I love you, Mummy. I love you too, my sweet boy. As she left his room, her phone buzzed. Another text. From the same unknown number. You think you've won? This isn't over, Adesewa. Not by a long shot. Her blood ran cold. Someone was still out there. Someone who wanted to hurt her. But who? 2 weeks after the custody hearing, Adesewa stood in the middle of an empty warehouse in Yoba. Sunlight streamed through the high windows, illuminating dust particles dancing in the air. Kunle walked beside her, taking measurements with a worn tape measure. This place has good bones, madam, he said, his voice echoing in the vast space. With some work, it could house 50 people. Maybe more. Adesewa smiled. Then let's make it happen. I want beds, showers, a kitchen, a medical clinic. I want this to be a place where people can rebuild their lives. Kunle looked at her with gratitude. You're giving people hope, madam. Real hope. No, Kunle. We're giving people hope. Together. As they continued their walkthrough, Adesewa's phone rang. It was Barrister Adebayo. Adesewa, we need to talk. It's urgent. Her stomach tightened. What's wrong? Femi made bail again. And he's filed an appeal on the custody ruling. What? How? His family put up their properties as collateral. And his new lawyer is claiming procedural errors in the hearing. They're asking for a retrial. Adesewa closed her eyes, fighting back rage. He never stops, does he? There's more. The police found evidence that Femi has been moving assets overseas. Millions of naira. If we don't act fast, he'll drain everything and disappear. What do? We file for an emergency asset freeze. And we push the prosecutor to fast-track the criminal charges. We need to hit him from every angle before he has a chance to run. Do it, Adesewa said firmly. Whatever it takes. She hung up and turned to Kunle, who had been listening quietly. Femi's not giving up, she said, her voice weary. Men like him never do, Kunle replied. But neither should you. That evening, Adesewa sat in her study, poring over financial documents. She was looking for every transaction, every hidden account, every piece of evidence that could bury Femi for good. Her phone buzzed. Another text from the unknown number. You should have taken the deal when you had the chance. Now you'll lose everything. Including Tobi. Her hands trembled. She'd had enough of these threats. She called her head of security. Deo, I need you to trace a phone number. Can you do that? Depends on the number, madam. Send it to me. She forwarded the threatening texts. Within an hour, Deo called back. Madam, the number is registered to a burner phone. Whoever is using it knows how to stay hidden. But I pulled location data from the cell towers. The texts were sent from Lekki Phase 1. Very close to your neighborhood. Adesewa's blood ran cold. Someone nearby is watching me. It looks that way. I've increased patrols around your property. But madam, you need to be careful. Whoever this is, they're serious. After hanging up, Adesewa walked to Tobi's room and checked on him. He was fast asleep, clutching his stuffed lion. She locked his window and drew the curtains tight. Someone was hunting her. And they were close. The next morning, Adesewa received a visitor at her office. It was Ronke. The woman who had destroyed her marriage stood in the doorway, looking smaller somehow. Her designer clothes were gone, replaced by a simple dress. Her makeup couldn't hide the exhaustion in her eyes. "What are you doing here?" Adesewa asked coldly. "Please, Adesewa. I need to talk to you. We have nothing to discuss." Ronke stepped inside anyway. "You're right to hate me. I destroyed your marriage. I helped Femi frame you. I deserve everything you think of me. Then why are you here?" Ronke's voice broke. "Because I'm scared. Femi has turned on me." Adesewa crossed her arms. "What do you mean?" "After the custody hearing, everything fell apart. Femi blamed me for the evidence coming out. He said I was careless, that I ruined everything. She paused, lifting her sleeve to reveal bruises on her arm. "He hurt me, Adesewa. More than once." Adesewa felt a flicker of something. Not sympathy exactly, but recognition. She'd seen this before. The cycle of abuse. The manipulation. "Why come to me?" "Because you're the only person who stood up to him and won. And because..." Ronke swallowed hard. "I know things. Things that could help you put him away for good." Adesewa studied her carefully. "This could be a trap." "It's not. I swear on my life. Femi has been planning something. Something big. He's not just trying to win back custody. He's trying to destroy you completely. Tell me everything." Ronke pulled out her phone and showed Adesewa a series of text messages between Femi and an unknown contact. "The wife is getting too close. We need to accelerate the plan." "What about the boy?" "He's leverage. Once we have him, she'll do anything we ask." Adesewa's heart stopped. "He's planning to kidnap Tobi?" Ronke nodded, tears streaming down her face. "He's hired people. Professionals. I don't know when, but it's soon." Adesewa grabbed her phone and called Deo immediately. "Get to my house now. Full lockdown. No one in or out. Tobi doesn't leave the property under any circumstances." "On it, madam." She turned back to Ronke. "If you're lying to me..." "I'm not," Ronke interrupted. "I know I don't deserve your trust. But I'm telling you the truth. Femi is dangerous. And he's not working alone. Who's helping him? I don't know. He never told me. But whoever it is, they have money and connections. Real power." Adesewa's mind raced. Femi couldn't pull this off on his own. Someone bigger was backing him. But who? That night, Adesewa couldn't sleep. She sat in the living room with all the lights on, a baseball bat beside her. Deo and his team patrolled the grounds. Every sound made her jump. At 2 a.m., her phone rang. It was Kunle. "Madam, are you safe?" "Yes." "What's wrong?" "I heard something on the streets tonight. Word is spreading that someone put a bounty on information about your son. People are asking questions. Where he goes to school, what time he leaves the house, who picks him up." Adesewa's stomach churned. "They're watching him. I'm doing what I can to spread false information. My people are protecting you. But madam, you need to be ready. Whatever Femi is planning, it's happening soon." "Thank you, Kunle. I won't forget this." After hanging up, Adesewa walked upstairs and checked on Tobi again. He was still sleeping peacefully, unaware of the danger circling him. She sat on the edge of his bed and whispered, "I won't let them take you. I'll die before I let them touch you." The next morning, Adesewa made a decision. She called Barrister Adebayo. "I want to meet with Femi. Face to face." "Adesewa, that's a terrible idea." "I don't care. I need to look him in the eye. I need to know what he's planning. He'll try to manipulate you. He'll lie. Let him try. I'm done hiding. Set up the meeting." 2 days later, Adesewa sat across from Femi in a neutral location, a conference room at a hotel in Victoria Island. Lawyers flanked both sides. Security stood at the doors. Femi looked thinner, his eyes hollow. But when he saw Adesewa, he smiled. That same charming smile that had once made her fall in love with him. "Adesewa," he said softly, "you look well. Cut the act. Femi, why did you agree to this meeting?" He leaned back in his chair. "Because I'm tired of fighting. And I think you are too. I'll never stop fighting to protect Tobi. I'm not asking you to. I'm asking you to be reasonable. Let's share custody. Let's co-parent like adults." "You tried to kidnap him." Femi's smile faltered. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Don't lie to me. I know about the plan. I know you hired people." His eyes darkened. "You can't prove that." "I don't have to. The police will." Femi stood abruptly, his chair scraping against the floor. "You think you're so smart. You think you've won. But you have no idea what's coming, Adesewa." "Then tell me, who's helping you? Who's behind this?" He leaned across the table, his voice a hiss. "You'll find out soon enough. And when you do, you'll wish you'd taken my deal." He turned and walked out, his lawyers scrambling to follow. Adesewa sat there, her heart pounding. Femi was right about one thing. A storm was coming. And she had no idea how big it would be. The breakthrough came from the most unexpected source. 3 days after the tense meeting with Femi, Adesewa received a call from an unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. "Mrs. Ogunlade." A woman's voice, shaky and nervous. "Yes. Who is this?" "My name is Folake. I work at your company. In accounting." Adesewa sat up straight. "Go on. I need to meet with you. Privately. There's something you need to know about your finances. About what's been happening. Tell me now. Not over the phone. Please. Tomorrow. The Jazz Hole Cafe in Lekki. 2 p.m. Come alone." Before Adesewa could respond, the line went dead. She immediately called Barrister Adebayo and Deo, filling them in. They advised against going alone, but Adesewa was determined. This could be the missing piece. "I'll have my team nearby," Deo insisted. Close enough to help, far enough not to scare her off. Adesewa agreed. The next afternoon, Adesewa arrived at Jazz Hole Cafe early. She chose a corner table with a clear view of the entrance. Her heart raced as she waited till exactly 2 p.m. A young woman entered. She was in her late 20s, wearing oversized sunglasses and a headscarf. She looked around nervously before spotting Adesewa and walking over. "Mrs. Ogunlade," she said, sitting down quickly. "You're Folake." The woman nodded, removing her sunglasses. Her eyes were red from crying. "I've worked in your accounting department for 3 years. I love my job. I never wanted to betray you." "What are you talking about?" Folake pulled out a flash drive from her purse and slid it across the table. "Everything is on here. Bank statements, wire transfers, emails. Your CFO, Mr. Adelik, has been working with your husband for over a year." Adesewa felt the blood drain from her face. Tund Adelik. "Yes, Ma. He's been helping Mr. Femi siphon money from the company. Millions of naira. They created fake vendor accounts, inflated expenses, routed funds through shell companies. Mr. Adelik would approve the transactions, and the money would disappear. Adesewa's hands trembled. Tund had been with her company since the beginning. She'd trusted him completely. He was like family. Why are you telling me this now? Folake's voice broke. Because they wanted me to help them frame you for it. They asked me to alter records, to make it look like you were embezzling from your own company. I refused. And yesterday. She pulled up her sleeve, revealing bruises. Mr. Adelik cornered me in the parking garage. He told me if I said anything, he'd make sure I disappeared. Adesewa's rage was white hot. Where is Tund now? Still at the office. He doesn't know I'm here. But Ma, you need to move fast. He's planning to wipe the servers tonight. If he does, all the evidence will be gone. Adesewa grabbed the flash drive and stood. Thank you, Folake. You've saved my company. And possibly my life. There's one more thing, Folake said urgently. Mr. Adelik mentioned a name during a phone call. Someone called the chairman. He kept saying, the chairman wants this done by Friday. I don't know who that is, but whoever he is, he's the one really in charge. Adesewa's mind spun. The chairman. That had to be Femi's mysterious partner. Did you hear anything else? Any clue who this person might be? Folake shook her head. I'm sorry. That's all I know. Adesewa reached out and squeezed her hand. You've done enough. Go somewhere safe. I'll handle this. By 5 p.m., Adesewa had assembled her team in a private conference room. Barrister Adebayo, Deo, and her IT director, Chidi. Can we recover the data before he wipes it? Adesewa asked Chidi. If we act now, yes. But once he starts the wipe, we'll have maybe 10 minutes before it's gone forever. Then we go tonight. Right now. Barrister Adebayo cautioned. Adesewa, if we confront him without solid evidence, he'll deny everything and lawyer up. We need the police involved. Then call them. But I'm not waiting. At 7 p.m., Adesewa walked into her company headquarters with Deo and 2 police officers trailing behind her. The building was mostly empty, but she knew exactly where to find Tund. She pushed open his office door without knocking. Tund Adelik looked up from his computer, startled. He was a portly man in his 50s, always smiling, always jovial. But tonight, his face went pale. Adesewa. I wasn't expecting you. I'm sure you weren't. She stepped inside, the officers flanking her. Working late, Tund? Just finishing up some reports. Really? Or were you about to erase evidence of your theft? His hands froze on the keyboard. What are you talking about? Adesewa held up the flash drive. I know everything. The fake vendors, the shell companies, the wire transfers. I know you've been stealing from me for over a year. And I know you've been working with Femi. Tund's face crumbled. He stood, backing away. Adesewa, please, let me explain. Explain what? How you betrayed someone who trusted you. How you tried to destroy my life. It wasn't my idea. They forced me. Who forced you? Femi and the other man. They said if I didn't help them, they'd expose my gambling debts. I owed money to dangerous people. They paid off my debts, but in return, I had to. He trailed off, his voice breaking. You had to help them steal from me. He nodded, tears streaming down his face. I'm sorry, Adesewa. I'm so sorry. One of the officers stepped forward. Mr. Adelik, you're under arrest for embezzlement and conspiracy to commit fraud. As they handcuffed him, Adesewa leaned close. Who is the chairman, Tund? Who's working with Femi? Tund looked terrified. I don't know his real name. I swear. Femi always called him the chairman. But I know this. He's powerful. Very powerful. And he wants you destroyed. Why? I don't know. But Femi owes him something. A debt. And you're the payment. As the police led Tund away, Adesewa stood in the empty office, her mind racing. She wasn't just fighting Femi anymore. She was fighting someone with real power. Someone who operated in the shadows. Someone who wanted her gone. Chapter 6. The breakthrough came from the most unexpected source. 3 days after the tense meeting with Femi, Adesewa received a call from an unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. Mrs. Ogunlade? A woman's voice, shaky and nervous. Yes. Who is this? My name is Folake. I work at your company. In accounting. Adesewa sat up straight. Go on. I need to meet with you. Privately. There's something you need to know about your finances. About what's been happening. Tell me now. Not over the phone. Please. Tomorrow. The Jazz Hole Cafe in Lekki. 2 p.m. Come alone. Before Adesewa could respond, the line went dead. She immediately called Barrister Adebayo and Deo, filling them in. They advised against going alone, but Adesewa was determined. This could be the missing piece. I'll have my team nearby, Deo insisted. Close enough to help, far enough not to scare her off. Adesewa agreed. The next afternoon, Adesewa arrived at Jazz Hole Cafe early. She chose a corner table with a clear view of the entrance. Her heart raced as she waited. At exactly 2 p.m., a young woman entered. She was in her late 20s, wearing oversized sunglasses and a headscarf. She looked around nervously before spotting Adesewa and walking over. Mrs. Ogunlade, she said, sitting down quickly. You're Folake. The woman nodded, removing her sunglasses. Her eyes were red from crying. I've worked in your accounting department for 3 years. I love my job. I never wanted to betray you. What are you talking about? Folake pulled out a flash drive from her purse and slid it across the table. Everything is on here. Bank statements, wire transfers, emails. Your CFO, Mr. Adelik, has been working with your husband for over a year. Adesewa felt the blood drain from her face. Tund Adelik. Yes, Ma. He's been helping Mr. Femi siphon money from the company. Millions of naira. They created fake vendor accounts, inflated expenses, routed funds through shell companies. Mr. Adelik would approve the transactions, and the money would disappear. Adesewa's hands trembled. Tund had been with her company since the beginning. She'd trusted him completely. He was like family. Why are you telling me this now? Folake's voice broke. Because they wanted me to help them frame you for it. They asked me to alter records, to make it look like you were embezzling from your own company. I refused. And yesterday. She pulled up her sleeve, revealing bruises. Mr. Adelik cornered me in the parking garage. He told me if I said anything, he'd make sure I disappeared. Adesewa's rage was white hot. Where is Tund now? Still at the office. He doesn't know I'm here. But Ma, you need to move fast. He's planning to wipe the servers tonight. If he does, all the evidence will be gone. Adesewa grabbed the flash drive and stood. Thank you, Folake. You've saved my company. And possibly my life. There's one more thing, Folake said urgently. Mr. Adelik mentioned a name during a phone call. Someone called the chairman. He kept saying, the chairman wants this done by Friday. I don't know who that is, but whoever he is, he's the one really in charge. Adesewa's mind spun. The chairman. That had to be Femi's mysterious partner. Did you hear anything else? Any clue who this person might be? Folake shook her head. I'm sorry. That's all I know. Adesewa reached out and squeezed her hand. You've done enough. Go somewhere safe. I'll handle this. By 5 p.m., Adesewa had assembled her team in a private conference room. Barrister Adebayo, Deo, and her IT director, Chidi. Can we recover the data before he wipes it? Adesewa asked Chidi. If we act now, yes. But once he starts the wipe, we'll have maybe 10 minutes before it's gone forever. Then we go tonight. Right now. Barrister Adebayo cautioned. Adesewa, if we confront him without solid evidence, he'll deny everything and lawyer up. We need the police involved. Then call them. But I'm not waiting. At 7 p.m., Adesewa walked into her company headquarters with Deo and 2 police officers trailing behind her. The building was mostly empty, but she knew exactly where to find Tund. She pushed open his office door without knocking. Tund looked up from his computer, startled. He was a portly man in his 50s, always smiling, always jovial. But tonight, his face went pale. Adesewa. I wasn't expecting you. I'm sure you weren't. She stepped inside, the officers flanking her. Working late, Tund? Just finishing up some reports. Really? Or were you about to erase evidence of your theft? His hands froze on the keyboard. What are you talking about? Adesewa held up the flash drive. I know everything. The fake vendors, the shell companies, the wire transfers. I know you've been stealing from me for over a year. And I know you've been working with Femi. Tund's face crumbled. He stood, backing away. Adesewa, please, let me explain. Explain what? How you betrayed someone who trusted you. How you tried to destroy my life. It wasn't my idea. They forced me. Who forced you? Femi and the other man. They said if I didn't help them, they'd expose my gambling debts. I owed money to dangerous people. They paid off my debts, but in return, I had to. He trailed off, his voice breaking. You had to help them steal from me. He nodded, tears streaming down his face. I'm sorry, Adesewa. I'm so sorry. One of the officers stepped forward. Mr. Adelik, you're under arrest for embezzlement and conspiracy to commit fraud. As they handcuffed him, Adesewa leaned close. Who is the chairman, Tund? Who's working with Femi? Tund looked terrified. I don't know his real name. I swear. Femi always called him the chairman. But I know this. He's powerful. Very powerful. And he wants you destroyed. Why? I don't know. But Femi owes him something. A debt. And you're the payment. As the police led Tund away, Adesewa stood in the empty office, her mind racing. She wasn't just fighting Femi anymore. She was fighting someone with real power. Someone who operated in the shadows. Someone who wanted her gone. That night, Adesewa sat in her study with Kunle and Barrister Adebayo. They'd been reviewing everything. The financial records, the embezzlement scheme, Tund's confession. We have enough to put both Femi and Tund away for years, Adebayo said. But this chairman character. We have nothing on him. We don't even know who he is. Kunle, who had been quietly listening, finally spoke. Madam, I think I might know. Everyone turned to him. I've been asking questions on the streets. And one name keeps coming up. A man who owns half of Lagos. Hotels, real estate, construction companies. A man who never shows his face but controls everything from behind the scenes. Who? Adesewa demanded. Kunle hesitated. Chief Balogun. Adesewa's blood ran cold. Everyone in Lagos knew that name. Chief Balogun. One of the richest, most powerful men in Nigeria. Untouchable. Connected to politicians, judges, police commissioners. Why would Chief Balogun want to destroy me? Adesewa whispered. I don't know, madam. But if he's involved, this is bigger than we thought. Barrister Adebayo rubbed his temples. If it's really Chief Balogun, we need to be extremely careful. One wrong move and we could all disappear. Adesewa stood, her jaw set. I didn't come this far to back down now. If Chief Balogun is behind this, then I'll take him down too. Adesewa, listen to yourself, Adebayo pleaded. This man has connections everywhere. He could have you killed with a phone call. Then let him try. The next morning, Adesewa woke to find a black envelope slipped under her gate. No name. No return address. Inside was a single photograph. It was Tobi, playing in the school playground. Written on the back in red ink, "Back off, or the boy pays." Adesewa's hands shook. She called Deo immediately. "Pull Tobi out of school. Now. Bring him home. Full security detail." Within an hour, Tobi was home, confused and scared. "Mummy, why can't I go to school?" Adesewa knelt down, holding his face in her hands. "Baby, there are some bad people who want to hurt Mummy. And I need to keep you safe. Can you be brave for me?" Tobi nodded, his eyes wide. That night, as Tobi slept, Adesewa sat in her study staring at the photograph. They'd crossed a line. They'd threatened her son. And now, she would show them no mercy. Her phone buzzed. A text from the unknown number. "Final warning. Adesewa. Walk away. Or lose everything." She typed back a single sentence. "Come and take it." Chief Balogun is revealed as the chairman. Face screaming in fear, but why does he want Adesewa destroyed? And now that Tobi's been threatened, what will Adesewa do? The final showdown is coming in the next chapter. Like, comment your predictions, and subscribe bell. You won't want to miss the epic conclusion. The war room was set up in Adesewa's dining room. Maps, documents, and laptops covered the long table. Kunle, Barrister Adebayo, Deo, and Folake, who had agreed to testify, sat around her. Tobi was upstairs with 2 armed guards outside his door. "We have 72 hours, Adesewa said, her voice steady despite the fear gnawing at her insides. "The prosecutor is filing charges against Femi and Tun tomorrow. But Chief Balogun is still untouchable unless we can directly connect him to the crimes." Barrister Adebayo spread out documents. "The problem is everything leads to shell companies and intermediaries. Balogun's name appears nowhere." "Then we make him show himself," Adesewa said. Everyone looked at her. "What do you mean?" Adebayo asked cautiously. "We set a trap. We leak information that I'm about to expose him publicly. We make him desperate enough to make a move. And when he does, we catch him." "That's incredibly dangerous," Deo said. "If he feels cornered, he might escalate." "He might. Might what?" "Kill me. He's already threatened my son. There's nothing left to fear." Kunle leaned forward. "Madam, I understand your anger. But this man has resources we can't match. If you go to war with him, you need to be smart about it." "Then help me be smart," Adesewa replied. "All of you. Help me end this." The plan was set in motion the next morning. Adesewa called a press conference at her company headquarters. Reporters from major news outlets packed the room. Cameras were rolling. Adesewa stood at the podium, composed and powerful. "Good morning. Thank you all for coming. Today, I want to address the attacks on my character, my business, and my family. Over the past months, I've been the victim of a coordinated campaign of destruction orchestrated by my estranged husband, Femi Ogunlade, and his associates." She paused, letting her words sink in. But Femi didn't act alone. He was funded and directed by powerful people who believed they could destroy me with impunity. People who thought that money and influence put them above the law. The room buzzed with anticipation. "In 72 hours, I will release documents proving everything. Bank records, communications, witness testimonies. Everyone involved will be exposed. No matter how powerful. No matter how connected." She looked directly into the cameras. "To those who threatened my son, you picked the wrong woman. I will not be silenced. I will not back down. And I will see justice done." The press erupted with questions, but Adesewa walked off the stage without answering any. The response was immediate. Within hours, her phone was flooded with calls from unknown numbers. Threats. Bribes. Warnings.One message stood out. It was from a number registered to a corporate law firm. Mrs. Ogunlade, Chief Balogun requests a meeting. Tonight. 9 p.m. His estate in Banana Island. Come alone, and this can all end peacefully. Adesewa showed the message to her team. It's a trap, Deo said immediately. You can't go. I have to. This is our chance. To get killed. Adebayo protested. Adesewa, be reasonable. I'll wear a wire. You'll all be nearby. The police will be on standby. But I need to hear what he has to say. I need him on record. Kunle placed a hand on her shoulder. If you're going, I'm coming with you. Kunle, no. You saved my life when you believed me in that courtroom. Now let me protect yours. She looked at the old homeless man who had become her most loyal ally. All right. We go together. That night, Adesewa and Kunle arrived at Chief Balogun's estate. The property was massive, sprawling lawns, fountains, and a mansion that looked like a palace. Armed guards patrolled the gates. They were searched thoroughly before being allowed inside. Chief Balogun sat in a grand study lined with leather-bound books and expensive art. He was in his 70s, distinguished-looking with silver hair and a tailored agbada. He sipped cognac from a crystal glass. Mrs. Ogunlade, he said smoothly. Please, sit. Adesewa and Kunle sat across from him. She kept her expression neutral, but her heart was racing. The wire hidden under her blouse felt like it was burning against her skin. You've caused quite a stir with your press conference, Balogun continued. Very dramatic. Very foolish. I only told the truth. Truth is subjective, my dear. What you call truth, I call slander. Defamation. Lies spread by a bitter woman. Then sue me. Take me to court. Let's see whose truth holds up. Balogun chuckled. You have spirit. I'll give you that. Femi said you were stubborn, but I didn't realize just how much. So you admit you're working with Femi? I admit nothing, he said, his eyes hardening. But let's speak hypothetically. Suppose I did know your husband. Suppose he came to me years ago with a business proposal. A way to acquire certain assets. You mean steal my company? I mean invest in opportunities. You built something impressive, Adesewa. But you're just one woman. Imagine what your company could become with the right leadership. The right connections. You wanted to take everything I built. Balogun leaned back. I wanted to make us both rich. But you wouldn't play along. You had to be the hero. The strong, independent woman who needs no one. He sneered. So we adjusted our strategy. You mean you tried to destroy me? I tried to teach you a lesson. But you've proven remarkably resilient. Which brings us to tonight. He set down his glass. I'm prepared to offer you a deal. Walk away from your accusations. Sign over 30% of your company to me. And all of this ends. Femi goes to jail. You keep your son. You keep your reputation. Everyone wins. Except justice. Justice. Balogun laughed. Child, there is no justice. There's only power. And right now I have it. You don't. Adesewa stood, her voice trembling with rage. You threatened my child. You tried to destroy my life. And you think I'll just hand you my company? I think you'll be smart. Because if you're not... He gestured lazily. Well, accidents happen. Even to little boys. That was it. The confession. The threat. All recorded. Kunle stood beside her. We're leaving. Sit down, Balogun commanded. His tone had changed. Gone was the smooth politician. Now he was a predator. Two armed men appeared in the doorway, blocking their exit. You didn't think I'd let you walk out of here with that wire, did you? Balogun said coldly. I've been playing this game longer than you've been alive. Adesewa's blood ran cold. You knew. Of course I knew. My people swept you before you even entered this room. Your little wire is broadcasting to no one. And your friends outside. They're currently being detained. Kunle stepped in front of Adesewa protectively. You won't touch her. Balogun stood, his face twisted with contempt. You, a homeless beggar? You think you can stop me? I think, Kunle said calmly, that you've made a mistake. What mistake? Kunle smiled. You confessed. And unlike you, I didn't come here with just one recording device. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a second phone, an old battered device that had been recording the entire conversation. Balogun's eyes widened. You. The audio is already uploaded to the cloud, Kunle continued. Sent to multiple email addresses. Journalists. Police. Government officials. Even if you kill us right now, the truth is already out there. For the first time, fear flashed across Balogun's face. You're bluffing. Am I? Kunle held up the phone, showing the upload confirmation. The room fell silent. Then, sirens. Multiple sirens, growing louder. Balogun lunged for Kunle, but Adesewa grabbed a heavy bronze sculpture from the desk and swung it, striking him in the shoulder. He stumbled back with a roar of pain. The armed guards rushed forward, but Deo and a team of police burst through the windows, guns drawn. Nobody move. Police. Balogun was on the ground, clutching his shoulder, his face purple with rage. You have no idea what you've done. I'll bury you. All of you. No, Adesewa said quietly, standing over him. You're already buried. You just don't know it yet. The arrest of Chief Balogun sent shockwaves through Nigeria. The audio recording, his confession, his threats, his admission of conspiracy, went viral within hours. News outlets played it on repeat. Social media exploded. Within 24 hours, the police had arrested 15 of his associates, including Femi, who had been trying to flee the country. Adesewa stood in her living room watching the news, Tobi beside her, finally safe. Mummy, is it really over? He asked. She pulled him close. Yes, baby. It's really over. 3 months later, Adesewa stood at the grand opening of the Hope House, her shelter for the homeless. Kunle stood beside her, dressed in clean clothes, smiling proudly as cameras flashed. This place exists because one man had the courage to speak up when it mattered most, Adesewa told the crowd. Kunle Adeyemi saved my life. And now together, we're going to save others. The crowd applauded. Kunle stepped to the microphone, his voice humble but strong. I spent 10 years on the streets. Invisible. Forgotten. But someone saw me. Someone believed me. And that changed everything. This shelter isn't just about giving people a roof. It's about giving them dignity, hope, a second chance. As the event wound down, Adesewa received a call from barrister Adebayo. It's official. Femi has been sentenced to 15 years. Chief Balogun got 25. Tund got 8 with possible parole. It's over, Adesewa. You won. She closed her eyes, feeling the weight of months of fear finally lift. Thank you. For everything. That evening, as the sun set over Lagos, Adesewa sat on her balcony with Tobi on her lap. Kunle joined them, sipping tea. What will you do now, madam? Kunle asked. Rebuild. Heal. Focus on what matters. She looked at her son. And make sure he grows up knowing that truth and justice are worth fighting for. Kunle nodded. You've given me a purpose again. I'll never forget that. We saved each other, Kunle. That's what family does. As the lights of Lagos twinkled in the distance, Adesewa finally felt at peace. She had faced betrayal, infidelity, and a conspiracy that nearly destroyed her. But she had survived. And she had won. What an incredible journey. From betrayal to justice, Adesewa fought back and won against all odds. Flexed biceps, what was your favorite moment in this story? Comment below. And if you love this tale of revenge and redemption, smash that like button, share with your friends, and subscribe bell to Tales by AJ for more gripping African stories. What story should we tell next? Let us know. Thank you for watching from wherever you are in the world. Globe showing Europe Africa red heart.